Dear organizers of World Lumen Congress, my name is Diana Antoci. I am doctor in psychology, associate professor in frame of the chair psychopedagogy and preschool education, Tiraspol State University, Chisinau, Republic of Moldova. I would like to present to you some of the results of my study fulfilled within several years with the following topic: value orientations in education systems, approach, interpretation, and formation. Some representatives of philosophy, sociology, pedagogy, and psychology, their names you can see on this slide, studied, examined the values from the different points of view. Now, let me give you some generalized positions, ideas concerning definition structures of these terms. During my research, I found the definition of values by Petre Andrei, a Romanian philosopher, worth mentioning. That value is a psychic phenomenon, a feeling that strengthens judgment and seeks to achieve its object in the form of a purpose. But man establishes different values according to the external circumstances or his spiritual states. Value orientation concept has also been studied in relation to society, history, culture, specific social groups, individuals in particular. The concept of value orientation is broader than the concept of value, since it implies a relationship of value and value-oriented subject. The system of value orientation has a multi-structural level with values on the top. Following the analysis of various scientific approaches, we elaborated the definitions of the value and value orientation concept. Value represent a central point of positioning, aligning of the entire personality system, which is the transcendent but not final outcome of the educational process under the impact of the social cultural environment and coordinating for a long period of time the cognitive, affective, volitional, motivational, behavioral sphere. The next concept is value orientation. Value orientation is a process of monitoring by a value or by set of values of the assembly of convictions, attitudes, behaviors that are in hierarchical interrelation with the personality system. These exposed ideas were put in the elaboration of the mechanism of value formation and exercising guidance. The scheme of value formation represents a continuous process which initiates through insights and manifests itself by externalizing of behaviors, gradually involving the cognitive, affective, volitional, motivational sphere of the subject. Therefore, forming attitudes and convictions through which the corresponding value takes shape. The shaped values are organized in value system. They are developed in perpetuity. They interact with values and condition other values. The succession of these operations produces transformations in the personality system and constitutes the mechanism of value formation. Personality's system of values is formed in the social, cultural, historical environment It is closely related to the particularities of personality, to the society of which the subject belongs. The formation of values is long-term process. The values are gradually outlined by passing the spiral path and are organized hierarchically in the value system, establishing certain connections between them and being in a connection of different intensity with other components of the personality, which therefore form a value or values orientation. Um, Outlining these ideas, we start our experimental research. The purpose of each was first of all to determine the particulars and age differences of the main constituent elements of the value orientations in adolescents and young people in general and in university level institutions. Secondly, the aim was to study the relationship between the structural components of the value orientations in the personality system. The next instrument were used in the as a methodology of our study. Um, in the 380 participants were involved in our experimental study with the age from 14 to 35 years. From the results obtained by application of the statistical instrument, we could find significant relationships with the positive and negative valences between the components determined in the frame of value orientation. Positive and negative valences can be explained by the specifics of the instrument applied to evaluate variables. Some scales are used to measure both positive and negative manifestations of personality, like as aggressive attitude, negative emotions, conflicting behaviors, etc., while others are applied to determine only the positive ones. Still others are used to identify existing components. Obtained results confirmed our hypothesis regarding the existence of the relationship between structural components, behaviors, affective states, attitudes, convictions, and values as elements of value orientations. Outlining the specifics of value orientation structure led to identification of criteria, indicators, and descriptors, and to development and validation of a questionnaire for value orientation assessment. The analysis of various scientific positions allowed us to highlight a number of value orientations that are common to all human beings. These would be um, morality, social recognition, material advantage, creation, personality development, health, professional development, family. The questionnaire is you can be used for subject aged 15 35 years and can be applied individually and in groups. It consists of 120 statements. In evaluating of this statement, we use the scale from 1 to 5 according to the following degree significance. 1 point not 2 points rather than not 3 points, medium 4 points, closer to yes, and 5 points yes. The accumulated score in which of the value orientation can be interpreted after three levels: low, medium, and high. The study of literature in field of pedagogy, psychology, analysis of educational policy documents, the results obtained in determining the structural elements of value orientation and experimental evaluating of their structural components and established relationship between them in adolescents and young people led to development and validation of the pedagogical model of value orientation formation. Previously identified value formation mechanism of and value orientation functioning was transposed into this pedagogical model, and it included behaviors, mm, affective states, attitudes, convictions, and values. In base of this pedagogical model, we underlined paradigms and theories like humanist, constructivist, and cognitivist, and emphasized the system of pertinent principles of value orientation formation. To identify methodology for value orientation formation in formal, informal, and non-formal education, mentioned principles of education were revealed along with strategies and conditions ensuring dynamic progress in general personality development and implicitly development of value orientation, all covered within the teaching experiment. The following conclusions were made. Value orientations of the personality have um, definite structural contents organized hierarchically, having the cyclical specificity of formation in each age period of the personality and of manifestation through behaviors, affective states, attitude, convictions, and values. Manifestations of value orientations in adolescents and young people differ throughout the age period, gradually change with the personality development, and attest to significant differences in the value orientations contents between adolescents and young people. Also, we come to idea that it is present existence of the significant bivalent correlation between the values and complexity of the components of the mechanism of value formation and functioning of value orientation. We underline validity of the questionnaire for assessment of value orientations foreseen for the period of adolescence and youth, focused on the mechanism of formation of the value orientation and psychopedagogical particularities of the manifestation of these components. Methodological foundations of the formation of value orientations outlined by educational principles, the dynamic mechanism of the process of formation of value orientations on the entire period of adolescence and youth, reflected in the elaborated pedagogical model. Thank you for your attention.